Where do we belong now?
There's not a question of where we belong. It's when.
It's always good to chat with you because it's always about new episodes, but at the same time, it's like, what am I going to be crying over in the show now? So
Everything.
There's always that emotional balance.
Yeah, Outlander, I love a hug punch, you know?
Well, how did it feel emotionally to wrap the show? I mean, what most surprised you about how it felt to finish something that has been such a huge part of your life?
I think we were aware that there was going to be some element of surprise. I don't think that we were ignorant or hiding from that fact. I think for me, it was more that it had been quite a long time coming. So even from starting season 8, we kind of had this attitude of like, oh my gosh, this is the first of the last time on things. Like even the read through, this is like, oh, this is the last first ever read through. So I think toward the end, we were kind of used to it on maybe a surface level. And then I think it's just there's no algorithm for it. And I think we were aware of that too. Like to do 10 years on a show is pretty rare. And so I think for me, it was just sort of stuff came out that I wasn't expecting. On the last day, I felt really quite ready, excited, like send it off on a high. And then all of a sudden you see the cast and crew whom we've known for 10 years sort of breaking. And it's just a domino effect. Once one person goes, everyone goes. And then you were being great. And you just turned and saw me and you were like, oh, you're crying. And then we were just falling. So yeah, it was expectedly unexpected. But it was beautiful. It was a nice way to finish it out.
Yeah, it's a great sense of loss, I think, it comes to you quite immediately. When it actually happens, you think, no, it's fine, I'm cool. I'm cool as a cucumber, I'll be all right. And then, I don't know, this really bizarre thing happens, I think, well, for me anyway, on the last day, where like you see a lot of things come out, you start thinking about various moments throughout the past 8-9 years and experiences you've had on and off camera and where you started, where you begun. And here you are on your last day, and this is sort of the last day you'll properly step into these characters' shoes, and the relationship that you have with, your co-stars is going away. However, you feel about it, that's going to be a part of you that's going to be no longer there. It's funny. It's a really strange thing to kind of come to terms with, and something that I never really have done before, because there's nothing else that I've been on for this length of time. And whatever way you look at it, we've been together for 10 years. It's like the end of a relationship in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And it's like, a lot of people have been in and out of our lives. The characters have been through a lot. There's been a lot of new faces, old faces on the show, and the four of us have this through line. And so just to get rid of a constant family that you've had for that long is quite sad. It's like Richard said, it's like a grieving process. But I do feel lucky, especially for me. Brianna's in a really good place, and she's been through so much and she's survived so much. And so however the season ends, at least I know that in her soul and her gut, she's the woman that she wanted to be. And I feel like that's a very peaceful place to leave a character. So it's sad to not step into her shoes again, but I feel very I can let her go in that sense. Like she's
in a better place.
Yeah, she's in a better place.
What was the first experience you had with the final script? Was it like, did you get to read it by yourself first to experience those emotions, or was it a table read with the cast? Like, what was the first experience you had?
Are you talking about the final script, like the final script in season 8?
Yeah, just like the very last script of the show. Like, did you get time to read it alone first, or did you all read it together? What was that experience?
Interesting. They did actually send it for us to read first, but I really wanted to save it to the read through because I kind of wanted that experience of all just being like, whoa.
Yeah, I read it for the first time to read through as well. I tend to do that anyway, but it was just especially profound having left it to read it with everyone. That is actually true, though.
With, when you're telling a story for this many seasons, it's obviously, you talked about how rare that is as actors. What did you each most enjoy about that journey and the challenges of playing characters over these time periods, over such a long time span? It's such a unique experience.
Yeah, it is. I think we've been very lucky that there's never been any monotony on the show. Monotonousness.
Monotonous.
It's never been a dull moment on the show. We very much have been able to, as you said, Richard and I played these characters for a long span of their age. We've both done flashbacks. I played Brianna from age 16 as her character to 30 odd. And we've spanned different time periods. We've gone from the 40s, 60s, 80s, wherever. So I feel that we have been very lucky in our Outlander experience that each season has been completely different, and our characters have developed so much that they are completely different people to when we started. And so it's felt like a really cool ride.
Family has been such an important theme. I can't imagine anything more terrifying than not knowing where your son is. So and on top of that, these two are separated and trying to figure out how to find him. So what can you say about how they're each dealing with finding their son, getting him back, not knowing what the other is doing? I mean, I can't imagine what that would be like in real life.
Yeah.
Your parental skills just take over for each of them. I think they just go into an automatic mode of, it doesn't matter what we have to do or how we get there. We'll find our son and we'll do whatever it takes to do that. And I think we see them really have very driven mode each in themselves that I don't know we've quite seen in such a powerful way from them before. And they just go into like drive to find their son and everything that comes with that.
Yeah, it's fight or flight, right? And they whip into action pretty quickly. And I think it's nice to show how much their relationship has progressed through this little spot of drama as well, because I think old Roger and Bree might have let this tear them apart. They've probably been bickering and arguing, whatever, and there's so much unspoken planning, I think, in that scene, right, where we decide what to do.
Yeah.
It's really sweet. They're kind of just like, okay, this is what we're doing. We agree with each other. It doesn't have to be a long convo. Let's just go get our son. And I think they trust that they will achieve their mission, and they're always together even when they're apart. And it's really a great way to show the couple's growth.
Richard, what did you most enjoy about Roger's journey, like traveling around through the 1700s, coming across characters that he knew but who didn't know him? I mean, it's different circumstances. What was it like to have that experience?
I think, well, you're kind of seeing Roger in a different light, first and foremost. I think you get to see a very different side of the character, which you haven't necessarily seen before. You usually see him in the context of his family, with Bree, with the Frasers, on whether it be in the Ridge or in the 80s. Yeah, I think you've kind of got to know that part of him, but people behave differently with other people or in other circumstances. And I think we see just a different dimension of him, which is fun. And I think there's so much going on in the second half of season 7, and this is just one area where we just sort of bring in a few more layers of the story, which I think are really interesting. We get some recalls to more historical Outlander and what that brings to the story, and some new relationships, but with kind of an interesting context. It's fun. I think there's so much going on for people to enjoy. I think it's just brings a wee bit more of that to it.
Yeah, it was just really fun to watch your reactions with some of the characters, because you're reacting to what you know of them, but they don't know you, and you're trying to...
It's just ridiculous. And I think Roger thinks utterly ridiculous the circumstances he finds himself in. Like, what are the chances of me being here now, and why the hell am I here, and what the fuck is going on? I think it's just immediately sort of inherently comical, because people know these characters that he's interacting with. They know their situation and kind of where they've come from, and immediately they can sort of kind of plug into that, because they kind of have an idea. The audience are already with you because they know the characters already. So it's like that thing of imagining, if this character had met this character, what would it be like? And it's like, well, you're getting a little sort of a taste of that, I think.
Were you guys able, did you have a top choice prop or memento that you wanted to take home, and did you actually get to have it?
You just stole the props.
Did you steal that?
No, but I was trying to think of something I wanted to steal, and I might take my little toy airplane, but...
Oh, yeah, I did see the toy airplane too. I mean, we have reshoots. If you have any ideas, we can...
Yeah, I feel like there's things that are probably too big that you can't take.
Honestly, I want to steal the Mustang, but I don't know how I'll drive that off the lot discreetly.
Don't think you can.
Especially with my stalling skills.
Yeah, you need to...
Well, there she goes. I can hear her.
Destroy that clutch.
We need to have a race in the cars now because I feel like you're ripping my driving. And all Caitriona and I did was rip your.
Well, yes. I had a hard time.
They're quite hard cars to drive.
Yeah, the 60s ones. Yeah, the 80s ones, not so much.
That was a dig in case it wasn't obvious enough. I actually did think about Ellen's pearls. Maybe just because they're such a through-line story, and I feel like Brianna's never really had a huge constant member of family, and I feel like these pearls have been there throughout as like her little protectors, and so that might be cool. Maybe you can wear the pearls and I'll take the plane.
Yeah, love a pearl necklace.
No.
What?
Sorry.
Huh?
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. It's always such a pleasure to talk to you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It's always fun to have a laugh over a show.
Sorry.
So bittersweet. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Christina. You're amazing. Bye.